Year 2489. Humanity had finally reached the stars. For centuries, humans had dreamed of becoming part of the galactic community. When the first human ships crossed interstellar space and made contact with alien civilizations, billions celebrated across Earth. But the welcome wasn't what humanity expected. The Galactic Council consisted of hundreds of advanced civilizations. Some had ruled entire sectors of space for millions of years. Their technology could move planets, create artificial stars, and manipulate gravity itself. Compared to them, humanity was insignificant. The first time a human ambassador spoke before the council, many representatives openly laughed. Our records show humans still experience wars. They still have poverty. They are driven by emotions. How adorable. The chamber erupted with laughter. News channels across the galaxy mocked humanity daily. Earth quickly became known as the child planet. Alien comedians built entire careers by making jokes about humans. Human diplomats endured humiliation after humiliation. But humanity never responded. Instead, Earth quietly observed. It studied. It learned. And most importantly, it prepared. Because while the galaxy mocked humanity, strange events were occurring beyond known space. Exploration ships vanished. Colonies stopped responding. Entire star systems went silent. Most civilizations ignored the warnings. After all, nothing could threaten the mighty Galactic Alliance. At least, that's what everyone believed. On Earth, however, secret reports painted a very different picture. Deep beneath the Himalayas, inside a classified military complex, world leaders watched disturbing footage. A fleet of alien warships had disappeared near the Void Sector. No survivors. No wreckage. No explanation. Only darkness. A silence that seemed almost alive. General Marcus Hayes stared at the screen. They're getting closer. The room fell silent. Nobody asked who they were. Everyone already knew. Humanity had been tracking the threat for decades. A threat older than any civilization. A threat hidden from the galaxy. And now, it was coming. Far above Earth, alien media continued laughing. They had no idea that the species they mocked every day was secretly preparing for the greatest war in galactic history. While alien civilizations enjoyed peace and prosperity, humanity worked in secret. Massive underground cities were built beneath every continent. Factories operated 24 hours a day. Entire mountain ranges hid military installations. Even the moon was no longer what it seemed. Beneath its surface rested shipyards larger than many alien capitals. For decades, humanity poured resources into projects nobody understood. Citizens believed these programs were scientific research. The truth was far more terrifying. Human scientists had discovered ancient signals hidden within Earth's oldest geological layers. The signals were billions of years old. Older than humanity, older than most civilizations in the galaxy. The message repeated a single warning: prepare. At first, scientists thought it was a mistake. Then they discovered more. Ancient structures buried deep beneath Antarctica. Impossible technology hidden beneath the oceans. Evidence that Earth had once been connected to something far greater. Something ancient. Something powerful. Humanity wasn't alone on Earth's timeline. Someone had come before, and they had left warnings everywhere. General Hayes stood before Earth's Secret Defense Council. The galaxy thinks we're weak. A hologram appeared. Thousands of hidden warships illuminated the room. The galaxy thinks we're primitive. Another image appeared. Planet killer weapons. Quantum shields. Reality-bending engines. The galaxy thinks we're a joke. Hayes smiled. Good. Let them keep thinking that. Because if humanity was right, the galaxy would soon need every weapon Earth possessed. And even that might not be enough. 3 weeks after General Hayes addressed Earth's Secret Defense Council, something happened that shattered the confidence of every civilization in the galaxy. At exactly 3:17 Galactic Standard Time, every communication network, from military command centers to civilian satellites, received the same mysterious transmission. At first, experts believed it was a system malfunction. Then they realized the impossible. The signal wasn't using any known language. Yet every species understood it perfectly. The message echoed through billions of speakers across thousands of worlds. They have awakened. A pause followed, then another sentence. They are coming. The transmission ended with a burst of static so powerful that communication arrays across the galaxy shut down for several minutes. Panic spread immediately. The Galactic Council declared an emergency session for the first time in over 80,000 years. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations gathered inside the massive council chamber, each demanding answers. What was that signal? Who sent it? Is this some kind of attack? No one knew. Then Admiral Zyron of the Varkesh Empire stood up. It came from the Void Sector. The room instantly fell silent. Every civilization knew that name. The Void Sector wasn't just unexplored space. It was forbidden. Thousands of expeditions had entered over the past million years. None had ever returned. The Council had marked the entire region as permanently restricted. No ship was ever supposed to go there again. Yet the signal had come from its very center. The Council quickly assembled the largest reconnaissance fleet in galactic history. 5,000 warships, the most advanced sensors ever built. Elite crews from 12 powerful empires. Their mission was simple: find the source of the signal. The fleet entered the Void Sector under constant observation from billions of viewers across the galaxy. For the first few hours, everything seemed normal. Dark stars, empty space, no signs of danger. Then, every camera aboard every ship suddenly turned black. Not because they failed, because something blocked the light itself. The fleet commander reported calmly, "Unknown anomaly detected." Seconds later, another message arrived. His face appeared on every galactic news channel. For the first time in history, the famous commander looked terrified. He whispered only 6 words. "We were never alone out here." The transmission cut off. Every warship disappeared from every sensor at the exact same moment. No explosions, no distress calls, no wreckage. 5,000 ships, gone, as though they had never existed. Silence filled the council chamber. Alien leaders who had mocked humanity only days earlier now stared at one another without speaking. Across Earth, General Marcus Hayes watched the same broadcast from the underground command center. He didn't look surprised. He looked disappointed. One of his officers finally broke the silence. "Sir, they're here, aren't they?" Hayes slowly nodded. "Earlier than we predicted." He pressed a red authorization key. Across Earth, alarms that had remained silent for more than 50 years suddenly activated. Deep beneath mountains, hidden factories came to life. Ancient doors the size of skyscrapers began opening. On the moon, enormous underground hangars lit up one by one. Thousands of classified spacecraft started their engines simultaneously. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this exact moment. While the galaxy laughed, Earth had been getting ready for war. And now, the countdown to humanity's greatest battle had begun. The disappearance of 5,000 elite warships changed the galaxy overnight. The same civilizations that had once laughed at humanity were now too frightened to speak. Every news network stopped broadcasting comedy shows about Earth. Every military command declared maximum alert. Every scientist searched desperately for an explanation. But there wasn't one. 3 days later, the first colony disappeared. It was the mining world of Keros 9, home to nearly 12 million beings. The colony had one of the strongest planetary defense systems in the Outer Rim. Hundreds of orbital cannons surrounded the planet, and a fleet of more than 800 warships guarded it day and night. Then, without warning, every transmission stopped. When rescue ships arrived, they expected to find a battlefield. Instead, they found a perfectly silent planet. Cities were still standing. Vehicles remained parked in the streets. Food still rested on dining tables. Children's toys lay untouched in parks. But there wasn't a single living soul. 12 million people had vanished without leaving behind a single body. Not one drop of blood. Not one damaged building. Nothing. The rescue crews fled in terror. Within hours, panic spread to every corner of the galaxy. World after world reported strange shadows moving across the stars. Massive fleets vanished while traveling through hyperspace. Entire space stations lost contact forever. People stopped looking at the night sky. For the first time in millions of years, the galaxy was afraid. An emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was called once again. This time, there was no laughter, no arrogance, only fear. One by one, the leaders admitted the truth. Our fleets cannot stop this enemy. Our weapons are useless. We don't even know what we're fighting. Then an elderly representative from one of the oldest civilizations slowly stood up. I believe there is one species that may know more than we do. The chamber turned toward him. He activated an ancient intelligence file that had been ignored for decades. The screen displayed one blue planet, Earth. According to forgotten surveillance reports, humanity had been secretly monitoring the void sector-long before joining the Galactic Council. Even stranger, human military satellites had correctly predicted every disappearance. Earth had known. For decades, a shocked silence spread through the chamber. One ambassador whispered, "If humans knew, why didn't they tell us?" Another answered bitterly, "They tried. We laugh." No one could deny it. Every warning Earth had sent had been dismissed as the imagination of a primitive species. Now those same civilizations had no choice. The Supreme Chancellor took a deep breath. "Prepare a diplomatic fleet. We're going to Earth." Hours later, the largest diplomatic convoy in galactic history entered the solar system. Hundreds of elegant alien ships surrounded the blue planet. They expected to see a frightened civilization preparing to surrender. Instead, they saw something impossible. Earth wasn't panicking. There were no riots, no chaos, no desperate evacuations. Military aircraft flew in perfect formation across the skies. Gigantic orbital defense platforms slowly rotated into combat position. On the moon, enormous shipyard doors opened, revealing thousands of warships that had never appeared on any galactic database. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, colossal black vessels rose silently toward space. One alien admiral stared through the observation window in disbelief. Impossible. How long have they been building all this? No one answered. As the diplomatic fleet landed near the United Earth Defense headquarters, General Marcus Hayes was already waiting. He wore no ceremonial uniform, only a battlesuit. His expression was calm, almost as if he had been expecting this visit for years. The Supreme Chancellor stepped forward. For the first time in galactic history, the ruler of the most powerful alliance bowed before a human. "General Hayes, we came to ask for your help." Hayes looked at the frightened alien leaders for several long seconds. Then he spoke quietly. "We warned you. You mocked us. You called humanity weak." He turned toward the giant command window overlooking Earth's orbit, where thousands of hidden human warships were launching into space. His voice became cold. "But none of that matters now. Because if we're already asking for help, then you're too late." The room fell completely silent. Outside, the stars themselves began to disappear. The moment General Marcus Hayes finished speaking, every light inside the United Earth Defense headquarters suddenly turned red. A mechanical voice echoed through the underground command center. "Omega Protocol activated. All defense fleets to battle stations." The floor beneath the alien delegates began to vibrate. At first, they thought it was an earthquake. Then the massive armored walls opened. Beyond them stretched a launch bay so enormous that it looked like an underground city. Thousands of engineers worked in perfect synchronization. Robotic cranes moved ships larger than mountains. Fusion reactors lit the cavern like miniature suns. The alien ambassadors stood frozen. One whispered, This isn't possible." General Hayes didn't even look at them. He was watching the giant tactical display covering the entire wall. Red dots began appearing one after another. Every red dot represented a lost world. Every minute, another star system disappeared. No distress call, no warning, only silence. Hayes turned to his officers. "Status?" A young commander answered immediately. "Operation Iron Horizon is online. Lunar Fleet ready. Atlantic Fleet ready. Pacific Fleet ready. Mars Defense Command ready. Orbital shield at 100%. The alien leader stared at him in disbelief. Mars? Lunar Fleet? Orbital shield? The Galactic Council had monitored Earth's space program for decades. None of those projects officially existed. General Hayes noticed their confusion. He walked toward the panoramic window overlooking Earth's orbit. With a single command, the armored ceiling above the headquarters slowly opened. The alien delegates looked up and forgot how to breathe. Above Earth floated not dozens, not hundreds, but more than 50,000 human warships. They'd been hidden using quantum camouflage satellites for decades. Some were sleek interceptors. Others were battleships nearly 50 kilometers long. Behind them drifted gigantic carriers capable of deploying thousands of fighters at once. The moon itself began to change. Its surface cracked open along enormous geometric lines. Entire sections folded outward like giant mechanical doors. From inside emerged something no alien database had ever recorded. A black flagship, nearly 300 kilometers long. Its hull absorbed light itself. Its engines glowed with deep blue energy. Across its side were painted only 2 words: HFS Titan. An elderly alien admiral collapsed into his chair. I spent 2,000 years studying every military power in the galaxy, and I never knew this ship existed. Hayes smiled faintly. That was the idea. Suddenly, every screen inside the command center flashed. A warning echoed across the room. Unknown object detected. Distance, 8 light years. Speed, impossible. Size, unknown. The tactical AI tried calculating its mass. Then, it shut itself down. Smoke rose from the processors. The system simply displayed one sentence: error. Object cannot be measured. Silence filled the room. Even Earth's most advanced computers could understand what was approaching. One frightened alien asked, "What is it?" General Hayes answered without taking his eyes off the stars. For thousands of years, the galaxy believed they were the hunters. They were wrong. He looked directly at the approaching darkness. Humanity has been studying this enemy for over 100 years. And now, we finally get to see its true face. At that exact moment, every star in one corner of the galaxy vanished. Not exploded, not destroyed. They simply stopped shining. The darkness had arrived, and for the first time in history, humanity prepared to strike first. For centuries, every civilization in the galaxy believed that the only way to survive an unknown enemy was to wait, to defend, to react. Humanity rejected that idea. General Marcus Hayes looked across the command deck of the HFS Titan. Thousands of officers stood at their stations, while holographic maps displayed the rapidly expanding darkness. The tactical AI spoke. Enemy front is advancing. Estimated arrival at Earth, 46 hours. Hayes shook his head. They'll never reach Earth. The bridge fell silent. We're taking the fight to them. A fleet commander hesitated. Sir, no civilization has ever entered the void sector and returned. Hayes answered calmly. Then we'll be the first. Within minutes, every hidden human fleet received the same order: Operation Thunderfall. More than 50,000 warships ignited their engines at once. From Earth, from the Moon, from Mars, from hidden stations beyond Pluto, humanity's entire defense force surged toward the edge of known space. Alien observers watched in disbelief. No one had imagined Earth possessed a military this vast. The Galactic Council transmitted a desperate message. General Hayes, you cannot attack that thing. You don't know what it is. Hayes replied with only one sentence. We know enough. 36 hours later, the human fleet reached the outer boundary of the void sector. The stars ahead had disappeared. Space itself looked wrong. Light bent unnaturally. Time seemed to slow. Even the silence felt heavy. Then, something moved. At first, it looked like a shadow. Then the shadow became larger than a planet, larger than a star. It had no clear shape, no face, no wings. It seemed to exist outside normal reality. The tactical systems failed instantly. Weapons lost target lock. Several ships reported their clocks running backward. An officer whispered, "What is that?" General Hayes stared at the impossible creature. The reason ancient civilizations vanished. The creature finally noticed a fleet. thousands of glowing eyes open across its shifting body. A psychic wave exploded through space. Alien crews watching from distant systems screamed in pain. Several ships lost all communication. Then the creature spoke, not through sound, but directly into every mind. Another civilization comes to die. For a single heartbeat, the entire fleet was silent. Then General Hayes stood. His voice echoed across every human warship. All fleets, target the core. Fire. 50,000 warships unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Blue plasma lances, quantum rail cannons, antimatter torpedoes, graviton beams. The darkness of space erupted into blinding light. The blast was so powerful that nearby stars trembled. When the light faded, the creature was still there. But something had changed. A massive wound stretched across its body. Black energy poured into space. For the first time in millions of years, the creature had been injured. Its countless eyes narrowed. The impossible happened. It took a step backward. It retreated. Across the galaxy, billions watched the live battle in stunned silence. Every history book had claimed the enemy could never be harmed. Humanity had just proved them wrong. General Hayes allowed himself a small smile. Good. It can bleed. Then his expression hardened. Which means it can die. But before anyone could celebrate, every sensor aboard the HFS Titan detected something far worse. The wounded creature was not alone. Behind it, thousands more shadows began emerging from the darkness. An officer's voice trembled. Sir, that wasn't invasion. Hayes slowly looked up. It was only the scout. The bridge fell completely silent. Humanity had won the first battle. But the real war was only beginning. The command bridge of the HFS Titan fell into complete silence. Thousands of shadows were emerging from the void. Each one was larger than the moon. Each one radiated the same terrifying energy as the creature humanity had just wounded. Even the veteran officers who had trained for this day their entire lives stared at the tactical display in disbelief. One officer finally whispered, "Sir, we can't fight an army like that." General Marcus Hayes didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned toward the fleet's senior scientist, Dr. Elena Carter. "It is time." Dr. Carter nodded. For decades, only 12 people on Earth had known the truth. A truth so unbelievable that, if revealed too early, it would have caused worldwide panic. Hayes activated a classified hologram, not only on the HFS Titan, but across every human warship. Millions of soldiers watched as an image of Earth slowly rotated in front of them. Then, the planet began to split apart. Not literally, the hologram revealed what had been hidden beneath Earth's surface all along. An enormous artificial structure. A machine so vast it extended from the planet's core to its outer crust. The alien ambassadors watching from Earth's command center gasped. One of them shouted, "Impossible! Earth isn't a natural planet." Dr. Carter looked at them calmly. "It was once." She changed the hologram. Millions of years ago, long before humans existed, an ancient civilization had discovered the creatures now emerging from the void. They called them the Eaters of Light. No weapon could destroy them permanently. No fleet could stop them. One civilization after another disappeared. Finally, the oldest and most advanced species in existence made one last decision. Instead of trying to destroy the monsters, they created a guardian world, a living fortress, a planet designed to awaken only when the Eaters returned. That world was Earth. The ancient builders filled it with hidden factories, quantum reactors, planetary shields, and a core engine buried at the center of the Earth. Then they vanished. But before leaving, they planted new life on the surface. Primitive life. Life that would one day evolve into humanity. Not as slaves. Not as experiments. But as guardians. The room remained silent. General Hayes finally spoke. "For thousands of years, we thought we were discovering Earth. The truth is, Earth was preparing us." Every soldier aboard the fleet listened, without moving. Hayes continued, "Our emotions, our creativity, our ability to adapt, They were never weaknesses. They were exactly why the builders chose humanity. Suddenly, the tactical AI interrupted. Warning, enemy fleet accelerating. Estimated arrival, 21 minutes. Hayes closed the hologram. The history lesson is over. He looked at every commander on the bridge. Activate Protocol Genesis. Deep beneath Earth's surface, something awakened. For the first time in over 100 million years, the core engine at the center of the planet began to spin. Across the solar system, every hidden human ship suddenly received 10 times more power than its reactors should have been capable of producing. The moon's massive fortress glowed with blue energy. Mars' defense grid came alive. Even the sun itself seemed to pulse. One frightened alien scientist stared at the readings. This energy, it isn't coming from your ships. Dr. Carter smiled. No, it's coming from Earth. Then the planet spoke, not with words, not through radio signals, but through an ancient pulse that echoed across every human mind. Guardians, the final war has begun. The ancient voice faded, but every human in the solar system had heard it. Children on Earth stopped and looked toward the sky. Astronauts aboard orbital stations stood frozen. Soldiers inside underground bunkers tightened their grip on their weapons. No one questioned the voice. Deep inside, they all knew one thing. The final battle had begun. Beyond Neptune's orbit, space itself began to tear apart. Massive black rifts opened one after another. From each rift emerged an eater of light, then another, and another. Within minutes, more than 10,000 of the colossal creatures surrounded the solar system. They moved without engines, without wings, without sound. Wherever they passed, stars dimmed, planets froze. Even time seemed to slow. The Galactic Council watched from a safe distance. Many leaders accepted that humanity and Earth were about to become the next victims. One alien commander whispered, "No civilization can survive this." General Marcus Hayes stood aboard the HFS Titan, staring at the impossible armada. He calmly gave his next order: raise the Guardian shield. Immediately, the core engine beneath Earth released a pulse unlike anything ever recorded. A wall of blue energy expanded from Earth. It passed the Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, until the entire solar system was surrounded by a shimmering sphere of light. The first wave of eaters slammed into the barrier. The impact shook every planet. Mountains trembled. Oceans rose. Cities lost power for several seconds. But the shield held. For the first time in history, the eaters had been stopped. An officer shouted, "Shield integrity, 98%. Cheers erupted across the command bridge. But Hayes remained expressionless. "They're testing us." As if responding to his words, the darkness changed. The creatures suddenly moved aside. A path opened through their endless ranks. Something far larger emerged. At first, it looked like a black star. Then it grew and grew until it was larger than Jupiter itself. The tactical AI attempted to analyze it. The screen immediately displayed a single warning. Entity identified. Designation: the Void King. Every sensor failed. Every communication system flickered. Even the Guardian shield vibrated under its presence. The Void King spoke, not with sound, but directly into every living mind. "Guardians, you delayed the inevitable. Your creators are gone. This galaxy belongs to the darkness." Millions of people across Earth heard those words. Fear spread for the first time. General Hayes stepped forward and activated a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every civilization could hear him. He removed his helmet and looked directly into the camera. They call themselves eternal. They believe fear is stronger than hope. They believe no one can stand against them. He smiled. They've never met humanity. He raised his hand. "All fleets, prepare for final protocol." Across the solar system, every hidden human warship turned toward the Void King. The moon transformed into a colossal weapons platform. Mars' orbital cannons charged with blinding blue energy. Earth's core engine reached maximum output. The sun itself began feeding power into humanity's ancient defenses. One alien ambassador watched the unbelievable display with tears in his eyes. "So this is why Earth never feared us. Hayes gave one final command.